So, any of you guys watching from Gary, Indiana, across the border, you guys can hop in the comment section and kind of help out here, man, because I don't know too much about what's going on in the streets over there. I know there's a lot of stuff from Chicago, a lot of gangs from here that go down, do their thing over there, but this was a really tragic incident. So, according to Lake County prosecutors, there's two guys, a guy named Davey and a guy named Kristen. Both of them are 17. They're charged with allegedly killing a guy named Orie on behalf of a gang called the 49th Avenue Boys Gang. So, like I said, any of you guys from Gary, hook us up in the comment section. If are they, GDs, BDs, Vice Lords, whatever, wherever they are, because that to me sounds like a clique. It doesn't sound like an overall gang. On February 15th at about 12:20 p.m., the Gary police, apparently this has just been solved, and the detectives over there, they responded to the 1300 block of Lincoln Street in Gary, Indiana, after a boy who was later identified as this guy Orie was found shot and lying on his stomach directly in front of a place called the Power and Light Church. And so he was pronounced dead at the scene. An autopsy determined that he had died by homicide from 3 gunshot wounds. He was shot once in the back and twice in his thighs. Based on the evidence found at the scene, the investigators say that Orie was likely running from his attackers when he was fatally shot. So detectives determined during the course of their investigation that these two shooters allegedly murdered him because he was, quote, disrespecting the 49th Avenue Boys Gang. And that's a common reason why gang members kill people. Specifically by insulting a gang member who was killed and dropping insulting gang signs. So when I heard about this, I, immediately thought about some of the stuff that's happened here in Chicago, like very similar stuff. So while investigating the murder, about 50 search warrants were executed, and the Homicide Task Force uncovered substantial evidence of gang-related crimes pertaining to the 49th Avenue Boys Gang, including several homicides, drug dealing, illegal firearm possession, and sales, and general crimes of violence throughout Lake County. The murder charges for the two alleged killers also include a firearm enhancement and a criminal gang enhancement that could double the prison time if convicted, according to prosecutors. So Gary is like, it's like Chicago's sister city, man. It's right across the border there. In Northwest Indiana really is all like almost like part of the same metropolitan area. Matter of fact, like on the far east side of Chicago, it's literally like right, it just borders Northwest Indiana there. So a lot of people from Chicago and from Gary are always going back and forth. And any city that's like within the vicinity of Chicago, is going to be like gang infested. Because Chicago is like the motherland of a lot of these gangs. They spread out from here, obviously, to everything in their path. So Gary, it's had a lot of problems with poverty. It's had a lot of problems with crime in the past, and it's very fertile ground for gangs. But that 49th Avenue Boys thing, it does not sound like a gang to me. That sounds like a clique or a crew. So, similar to what you get over here, these neighborhood sets, they're technically not gangs. Like O Block technically is not a gang. The gang would be BDs. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that is what I mean. So this kid, it didn't say if this kid was a gang member. That's like a critical piece of information. Because a lot of kids, unfortunately now, man, and this is one thing that I'm going to say, and plenty of guys, even guys in the streets have like said the same thing and gone on the same rant. Guys that are not involved and like not in the streets and don't gangbang, a lot of times they like hop in this stuff on social media. Even girls do this, man, and they start disrespecting dead gang members. They start dropping opposing gang signs. These are people that are not even in a gang. They maybe just have friends that are in a gang, or they maybe just may be from a neighborhood where guys are doing that and they're friends with the guys that do that. So they hop in and start doing that. Even people from other cities. I'm not going to say no names, but a lot of you guys probably already know, a lot of you guys may already know who I'm talking about. As far as like rappers and stuff, they start like collaborating with some Chicago rapper, and then they start dissing all the dead homies from the gang that Chicago rapper is into it with. Like just inserting themselves into somebody else's beef because like they linked up with them on some rap stuff. This kind of thing goes on all over the place, and guys put a target on their backs for nothing. In cities that have nothing to do with Chicago's gang problem, talking about, disrespecting this dead gang member, dead gang member, and then the guys from here talking about like, well, now you got to watch how you move. For what? It's just totally pointless, man. Parents, if you can find out about your child's social media, I would definitely, check that out, man, because a lot of these kids, a lot of your kids, a lot of your good straight A student, boys, and especially boys, but girls too, they're on there doing some nonsense like that and putting a target on their backs for nothing. And this is a big one too that I need to talk about. And I know I'm going along with this, but this is important for me to say because you see this in the schools all the time, man. Girls that date gang members suddenly, a lot of times, insert themselves into the beef. They start claiming their boyfriend's gang. On their social media, they start like dropping the ops sign and dissing, all their boyfriends, ops, dead homies, and stuff like this. That relationship, the odds are, especially if this is like junior high, high school, the odds that that relationship is even gonna last are minimal. Okay, so she's gonna like break up with this guy maybe after like a couple weeks. Okay, so while she was with the guy, she put this big target on her back by dissing all his ops, dead homies. Now she's broken up with him. Now, okay, maybe she takes that stuff down off of her social media, but she can't count on the fact that now that target is going to be gone. The target may stay there for life or until she gets, pressed or killed or something. And dissing a dead guy that's like in gang culture, that's, punishable by death. It's not something you should just think that you're just going to get dissed back for or violated for or something like that. Like you get killed for that. Just saying something, just posting something. So I see this younger generation doing this all over the place, man. Like back in the day when there were leaders and stuff, and there was a lot of structure in this stuff. If you weren't part of that gang, you couldn't claim nothing. Like you couldn't claim them. You couldn't talk about yourself like you were part of their clique or you diss their ops. You couldn't do none of that. You know what I'm saying? Because you had to pay dues to rep that. You had to get jumped in. You had to learn the lit. If you hadn't jumped through all those hoops, you couldn't even say their name. You couldn't put their logo on your social. There was no social media back then, but you couldn't like rock their colors. You couldn't do none of that. Nowadays, since you don't have to do anything to claim these games, you've got all these shorties just claiming this stuff and like dissing people, and it's getting a lot of people killed. Like puts their lives at risk, like totally unnecessarily. So yeah, think about it, man, because some of these kids are 12, 13, 14, even 15 years old, getting themselves killed for nothing. So yeah, anyways, parents though, older siblings, older homies in the neighborhood, because any big homies that condone that and like co-sign that and don't put the shorties in check, like you're not being a real friend or a real big homie to that younger person, because they need to be guided the right way. I'm referring to stuff that a lot of guys in the streets have already posted and said on social media about this. Like if you see them out there dropping gang signs and stuff and they're not like really living that life, they're putting themselves in that lane, they're going to get hit. You need to let them know, like if you're a real friend. And if you're a shorty that's doing that and nobody's checking you on that, then you need to get new friends, because a real friend is going to check you on that real quick. So anyways, think about it, guys. Real friends tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Anybody that helps you chase clout or chase attention or whatever, impressing these girls, doing all that is not worth none of that, man. It's not worth it. And what's sad too, man, you see some of the older guys doing this, like that aren't even part of this too, like guys acting like kids, acting the way that kids shouldn't even act. Thanks for watching, guys. It's your boy Chicago News. I'm out.